Forgive me, Father, for what I am about to say, because my fecking God, oh my, I, I think I'm quite a I'm quite I'm a guy who flings between different emotions, right? Sometimes I'm rational. I think I'm quite cool. I'm quite calm, quite collected. But there are certain games, there are certain moments in my life where Aston Villa do things to me that are like, how in the world do I keep my cool after that? Oh my goodness. I, where do I find the words? Where do I find the words? RB Leipzig 2, Aston Villa 3. Honestly, to all the lads who are out there that I know, to all the ladies I know that are out there at Leipzig now, Webbo, James Tierney, all the guys out there, the London Lions. Hope you're having a fantastic time. Everybody I know, Max Stokes, probably at Villa on tour, Simon Lyons, all of you, you have just witnessed something really, really special. And I am at home here, right? I had to watch it at home, right? God Almighty, I wish I was in Leipzig right now. I had to watch it at home, and there's probably every single flat that I am near has just called the police, going, I think there's some kind of something's gone on in that flat there, and the police will turn up, and I'll tell them, did you see Villa Leipzig? They go, I did, yeah, and I'll say, well, hello, Champions League badge here, Villa badge here, and they go, yeah, fine. In fact, you know what? We'll let you get off with parking fines, whatever you've ever done in your life. All criminal record cleared, cleared. What an absolutely incredible performance. Yes, I get it. There's going to be a bunch of people sat here now going like, well, Leipzig, they've not been playing well this season. They just lost 5-1 against Wolfsburg. They also just beat a full-strength Eintracht Frankfurt, who are top three in the Bundesliga at the moment. I think second in the Bundesliga. Just beat them 3-0 last week at home. Now, Leipzig as well, I know they've not done well in the Champions League this season, but they are a team that has been in the Champions League now regularly for about 6 years, about that period of time. And Aston Villa, we're the gate crashers. We're the lads who've just turned up. You're throwing a party at university and you invite all your mates, and then some random good-looking guy turns up and you're like, who is this guy? All the guys look at him feeling jealous. They look at him in his leather jacket, like, hey, who's this guy? All the girls look at him going like, I wish I didn't have a boyfriend. I wish Bayern Munich were my boyfriend, because Aston Villa, we walk in and you look a bit like John Duran. You just walk in and you look like a man who belongs on the catwalks of Medellin or Bogota or wherever it is. I mean, my God, what a performance. A team of that level of experience in Europe, Champions League experience, semi-finals within the last 4 years. And Aston Villa turned up there. What is the German for men against boys? What is the German for men against boys? Maybe you'll get in touch with me, somebody, and tell me what it is. Comment down below. Please subscribe, because it was men against 3-2. 3-2 flatters Leipzig. Do you know what it could have been? 5-1. That's the sort of performance it felt like. And had Villa walked out of that 2-2, I'd have gone, it's a great result to draw away at Leipzig, but at the same time, we've been robbed, because we were just all over them. All over them. Marco Rose, their manager, right? Okay, he's under pressure. He's not been doing that well. They're still fourth in the league. They're still the fourth best team in Germany at the moment. But he said the other day, he said, Aston Villa, they have a certain style. It's a little bit easier to prepare for. Now, what I have been thinking about Villa recently is that when I've watched games that we've played in recently, I went to Stamford Bridge last week with Alex Conway, had a great time, London Lion, bit of a London Lion legend. Went to Chelsea with him, and I watched it and I thought, they look like they know how to press us. And there's a few teams now I've watched and I thought, it looks like they just know how to press us, and we're struggling to play out against that. Tonight, Aston Villa turned up, and within the first minute, I went, wow, it looks like we're actually playing with a three at the back. We're going, how? Diego Carlos with his big old tree trunk legs, and the Rock himself, the Rock Concert, laying the smackdown on any Leipzig jabroni they got near him. The three of them, and then you got Cash and you got Dean sort of pushing forward. And then when Villa were defending, we go back into a 5. But if we wanted to, we go into a 4-4-2 as well when we were defending. And it just felt to me like Leipzig are prepared for Villa to play in a certain way. We turned up and played in a different way, and they simply could not deal with it. Villa were physically overawed them. We were, there was a moment in the first 5 minutes where I remember Nusa had the ball right on the left. Good player, really good player for Leipzig. He's pushing forward and he passes the ball backwards. And do you know what? Matty Cash just gave him a little bit, one of them in the back. A little bit of a push in the back, let him know who's there. Tielemans did the same to another midfielder in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Just let him know who's there after a simple pass. And Villa were just constantly like in them, in their faces a little bit, turning up and going like, do you know what? We're Aston Villa. We're from Birmingham City Centre. We ain't here to make friends, mate. We're here to just, have a good time, sing Ozzy Osbourne songs and maybe give someone a headbutt. Do you know what I mean? It was, we just let them know we were there. And Villa physically overawed them, but not just physically. It was almost like Leipzig just didn't quite know how to deal with it, didn't know when to press, how to press. Villa always just managed to find that little bit of space, and we were just playing it around them. And it all came at Millhouse. Watch The Simpsons if you've never seen it. For Christ's sakes, greatest TV show ever made. It all came at Millhouse in the first 5 minutes. Lovely passage from back to forth. I think Rodgers involved, John McGinn's involved, gets out to Matty Cash. Lovely ball in from Matty Cash, who I thought played really well today. Good ball in, and Ollie Watkins, the intelligence of Ollie Watkins to head that onto John McGinn, and the intelligence of the booty man playing in a deep blue Aston Villa shirt. To him, he probably thought, I'm playing for Scotland tonight. Looks like a Scottish shirt, mate. And he gets forward and what does he do for Scotland? He scores goals. What did he do for Aston Villa tonight? He scores goals. And do you know why it's so magical? Why it's so Gandalf magical from Lord of the Rings? Do you know why it's so magical? Because John McGinn has been there from the darkest, deepest days of when Aston Villa lost a playoff final to Fulham, to bloody Fulham. He stuck with us. He got us up into the Premier League. He's been through the darkest of days. And here he is now at our zenith, our pinnacle with Professor Unai. And what does he do? He turns up at Leipzig away. Literally, them and Bayern Munich were our two hardest games in the whole group. The Category A draw. So Leipzig away technically was our hardest game. And at the start of the season, I thought, that's our hardest draw. Leipzig away, I just don't fancy us there, really. I mean, how wrong was I proven? I love it when I'm proven wrong. I love it when I'm proven wrong, which is every day of my life. So I don't love it. Actually, I love it only every now and again. But I particularly love it when I'm proven wrong with Aston Villa. Because bloody John McGinn turns up, and what a finish. Just what a fantastic start to the game. We're all over them. And if you were to criticise Villa, it'd be a similar criticism as you go for this season. You go, we don't take the chances that we have when we make them, because we create so many chances and we're just not clinical enough. But then on top of that, we concede stupid goals. And today, for the first 25 minutes, I thought, today is not a day where Villa can see one of them stupid goals. And then what do we go and bloody do? Just a straightforward long ball forward from Seidwald. Top player, by the way, Austrian international. Openda gets in front of it. And I mean, of all the players you'd ever think wouldn't make a mistake, Emi Martinez, the world's number one. Look, goalkeepers all over the world, even the world's number one makes a mistake every now and again. Even the world's number one does. And he made one tonight. And he got in and he thought, all right, this is a test of Villa now. We've conceded a stupid goal, haven't been on top. I mean, it's what we do all season. We concede stupid goals. Conceded one, haven't been on top. How do we react to that? Do we cave in? Do we let Leipzig grow into the game, come at us? We didn't. We continued our physical dominance. And to be honest, Ollie Watkins had a goal ruled out. He was offside by an inch. He had another shot where he could have scored. Again, just Villa kept on going and going. Gets to half-time, you're thinking, how are Villa not winning this? I mean, that sort of hybrid 3-5-2, 4-4-2 out of it just totally rocked Leipzig. And do you know who I thought was absolutely incredible? Boubacar Kamara. Watch that, man. I tell you what, if you're doing a university course in football, right? What I'd say to you is, in your first year, study Lionel Messi, because that's how you get by, right? You just Lionel Messi, the greatest football player of all time. In your second year, go and study Boubacar Kamara, because the lad, he's just so intelligent. He's physically, awkward. He gets around a player. He gets around you. He can read the game. But his calmness and surety on the ball. he's a world-class football player. And there is not a team in Europe right now that isn't looking at Aston Villa going, that Boubacar Kamara, I tell you what, if he's on Tinder, I'm swiping right. In fact, I'm swiping up and I'm giving him a super like. Giving him a super like. Because, my goodness, I thought him and Tielemans in the centre today, sensational. That sort of 3-2-2 out wide, 2-4. The whole formation, it just worked. And I love that Villa could do that. I love that we can turn up and at Leipzig away, a top team like Leipzig, and play like that and dominate the game. And it makes me think, because Villa, I think we've been a bit predictable at times this season. I think other teams have worked us out. Like I say, I was at that Chelsea game, and that was what my big worry coming out of that game was like, ooh. And Palace as well, actually, with their press. It felt a little bit like, ooh, I feel like teams are on us. But do you know what? If we can turn up and we can adjust our game and play like we did tonight, well, then if we can turn up at Premier League teams and do the same thing again, that gives me even more confidence that Aston Villa will get Champions League again this season. Bring it on. Bring it on. I mean, for Aston Villa to have gone through the poor run of form we've just gone through, to lose 3-0 away at bloody Chelsea, and then follow that up with an absolute battering of Brentford, an awkward win over Southampton, which should have been 5-0 instead it was 1-0, and then to go to Leipzig and win 3-2. I mean, forgive me here, I don't swear very often on this podcast, but fucking hell, mate. Fucking hell. Sorry, kids, if you're listening. There's little kids listening to this. But learn that word. You probably hear that word. Your mum or dad will say it at some point because fucking hell, man. Unbelievable. I literally want to march down this road right now. It's -2 degrees in my Ollie Watkins shirt, knock on every door, even though they're all Tottenham and Arsenal fans, and lecture them like a Jehovah's Witness about God or a Mormon about God, lecture them about John Duran and say, do you know what? About 20 years ago in Colombia, there was a star over wherever John Duran was born in Colombia. Let's say Medellin. I'm not sure where he was born. But he was born there, and there's a star above him, and 3 wise men turned up. Professor Unai Emery, Monchi, and Damian Vidagani. And all of them came along and brought gifts, all of them different footballs, a shirt, and, who knows, like a training top or something. And John Duran's parents went, well, this must mean something. Our son must be quite special. And you know what he's been doing this season? Showing that he could be not just one of the best strikers that we've seen at Aston Villa ever, but one of the best strikers in world football. And I know for a fact there are scouts in European football who think that John Duran could be the best striker in world football at some point. I mean, the thing with Duran, it's not just that he scores these screamers, right? He's 20 years of age. So, right, he scores these screamers. Every now and again, he makes the wrong pass, right? But you would expect that in a year's time, he doesn't make the wrong pass, he makes the right pass. But the amount of times now that he makes the right pass, the amount of times now the ball comes into him and he holds it up. I mean, the goal tonight. I mean, he's a one-man highlight reel, right? The goal he scored tonight. I feel like I'm William Shakespeare. Because I want to sit down now and I feel like I want to spend 20 hours of my life writing poetry about what an absolutely incredible finish that was from Duran. To have the vision to turn, see one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Galassi is just a little bit off his line. People will blame the goalkeeper. I don't blame him. I think John Duran just pulled off an absolute moment of genius. As I say, there was a star over him when he was born. The 3 wise men, the 3 wise Spaniards turned up and gave him bloody gifts that his parents' gifts he wanted. He's at Aston Villa now, giving us gifts of incredible goals every single bloody game he plays. There was me and George. We talked about it the other day on the podcast. We talked about Watkins and Duran. We are incredibly lucky that we've got 2 such absolutely fantastic strikers in Watkins and Duran. Watkins was unlucky to have his goal offside, an inch offside. Watkins got a brilliant assist for McGinn's goal. John Duran comes on and he just, what a goal. What a goal. What a player. Are there things I think he could improve in his game? Of course, he's so young. But I tell you what, you look at him now and you think there's things he has in his game that players of his age don't have. And this lad could go to the very, very top. And I tell you what, like I said, it's what, 10 o'clock at night. I'm going to walk down every house now. I'm going to knock on every doorbell. I'm going to wake them all up, and they're all going to go, "Are you a bloody carol singer?" And I'm going to say, "Well, yeah, I'm going to sing about John Duran." But secondly, listen to what I got to say. Aston Villa just won 3-2 in the Champions League, and listen to my lecture about John Duran. They'll slam the door in my face, probably call the police, and I'll say, "I don't fucking care." And then, look, the only man tonight for Leipzig. No, there were two players I thought for Leipzig looked really good tonight. Openda, what a performance. He was the only man carrying them in that game, really. He was the only man who sort of came to the rescue for them. Great goal. First goal, Villa's mistake, but it's a good touch and a good finish. Fair play to him. The second goal, he just gets in behind what Carlos, doesn't he? And I guess that's what Villa are. We play a high line, and every now and again, there is going to be that inch, isn't there? That inch where the team, find a moment. And he gets forward. Fantastic balls of Baumgartner. And Baumgartner, fantastic finish. I mean, it's just one of them goals. You go, we've been all over. There should be about 4-0 this game. They've scored a freak of a goal, and they've just scored a world-class goal. And you're like, again, you think, is this one of them where Villa just get robbed and they score? They had that free kick, didn't they, from 20 yards? You thought, are they just going to rob this 3-2? And we all look at each other like, how the hell is that ended? How have we lost that game? But that's not the Villa of old. That's what happens. The Villa of the here and now, nope, we send our subs on. Emi Buendia did a top job. Kosta Nedeljkovic, a player who I rate really highly, and things going. Another one I think might go to the very top in this game. He comes on, does a very good job. John Duran, of course, did a good job. But Ross Barkley, on you come, mate. And he just takes that shot. Ross Barkley is the new Frank Lampard, isn't he? Those deflected goals. And I tell you what, when that rolled into the back of the net, I lost my mind. My fiance came into the room and she threw a cushion at me and said, "Please cover your mouth." Because there's probably every single flat along our corridor is probably thinking, what the hell's going on in there? Call the police. The police are probably going to knock the door in about 10 seconds. They'll probably call it after this. I mean, sensational. And, it reminded me of when Barkley scored that deflected goal against Liverpool in the 7-2. I mean, and then, Villa just see out the game with ease. And, we look at John Duran's disallowed goal, Mats Cash off by an inch. Again, Ollie Watkins off by an inch. This should have been 5-1 to Villa. We are absolutely sensational. And 3-2, when we look back on it in history and we go, oh, that was 3-2, that was a tight game, wasn't it? No. Come back and watch this instant reaction and say, no, it wasn't. Villa should have won this 5-1. If it wasn't for Openda, it would have been 5-0. I mean, I've supported this football club for 30 years. 30 years. 30 years of hurt. That's the song in it in 3 lines or whatever. 30 years of hurt for England. I don't really care about England as much, to be honest. I just don't. But Aston Villa, 32 years now since I went to Norwich versus Aston Villa. Norwich came third that season. Villa came second. I was sat in, I think I was sat in the old pre-Doug Ellis stand, and we lost 3-2 in the year 1992. Rule Fox playing for Norwich. Chris Sutton playing for them. Aston Villa, Dalian Atkinson, Dean Saunders, the late great Dalian Atkinson, RIP, thank you. Ray Houghton, all my Irish legends, Frankie Maguire. I'm Irish, mate. I'm Irish. Come on. Frankie, Frank, Ray Houghton, Stevie Staunton, all these lads. And in all the years of agony and pain that we've endured with Villa, with some moments of uplifting, but did you ever think when we were losing playoff finals to Fulham, when we were getting beaten in the Championship, 3-0 at Brentford away, did you ever think within 4 to 5 years we'd be here in the Champions League in the top 8, having just beaten Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig, 2 of the best teams Germany can throw at us, having been robbed of a win against Juventus? Would you have believed this? Believe it. This is a magical moment to support Aston Villa. And you know what? I've said it before and I'll say it again. This isn't the top of Mount Everest. Mate, we ain't climbing to the top of Mount Everest. The tallest mountain in the solar system is Olympus Mons, an extinct volcano on Mars. Professor Brian Cox calls it Olympus Mons, right? That's what we're aiming, the top of that, not the top of Everest, top of Olympus Mons. And we have got to believe as a football club, we are not here to make up the numbers. We're not here to look pretty and be someone who gets asked for a dance but doesn't get married. We are here to bloody lay the smack down, to bloody turn up as Stone Cold Steve Austin and give a Stone Cold stunner to bloody, the Undertaker Bayern Munich, or bloody, Vince McMahon himself, RB Leipzig. And look at it and go, we're a team who belong at this level. And we have shown this season that we belong at this level. Last season, Newcastle beat PSG, right? 4-1 at home, but they didn't sustain it. Villa have sustained this. And my goodness, if we can do it again, we can get Champions League again this season. Feckin' hell, lads. Feckin' hell, ladies. What a moment. This is it now. This is it. I'm buzzing. I'm just buzzing. I want to write poetry. How do I write poetry? We talk about hurricanes. Duran. The Duran turned up and just blew Leipzig away. The Duran. Thank you so much for listening to this outpouring of madness. Forsooth, I saw such a wonderful night. Is this a football team I see before me? The goals towards my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. My goodness, that was a Macbeth quote. I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind here. I better shut up. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Please let me know what you think about the game. I love Aston Villa. I just love this team. I'm so thankful to Professor Unai for coming into my life. It's coming into our lives and just making all this pain and frustration that we've endured for 30 fucking years all feel like it was just worth it because of nights like tonight. And as I said, this is not the pinnacle. The best is yet to come. Up the mighty Villa.